Good morning, everyone. This is Papa Guac here. I'm doing this special video on a comment that was left from a viewer in Texas in regards to an experiment that he was doing with black beans. And that experiment was a success for him. And so he told his story. It's on my black bean video, the comments, but I'm replying to that particular viewer, and my reply is that you can do that with everything. I don't care if it's black beans, which these in this pot here are looking pitiful. They don't like the full sun. This side gets a lot of sun over here, although it's a little shaded right now. But the ones I have in the back are fantastic, and so I'm going to start growing them in the back. I just planted a fresh row, so they ought to start taking off. But literally anything that you have that you buy at the store that is a fruit or a vegetable, you can grow it from that fruit that you have bought and then never have to buy that fruit or vegetable again because you growing it on your own. It's a beautiful thing. These onions, these green onions, are 3 years old. I bought them for Thanksgiving 3 years ago, and I left the bottoms, and look at them. I just recently had a video where one of them made a flower. I didn't even know they made flowers. Right here, I've got ginger. I just broke off a couple of small pieces of ginger and put them in dirt, and now they're growing. Sitting here next to it is a companion plant. I'm a big fan of companion planting, is basil. You take a snipping of a piece of basil, shove it in the ground, and off it grows. Just give it some water and that thing will grow. You don't have to buy basil. The trick for basil is don't let it flower. If you let it flower, that's when you're going to have issues, because it'll make seeds and the plant will die, and then that's it. As long as you keep it from flowering, the basil can last you a very, very long time. And again, you can propagate it in almost every single pot that I have around my property, and in the ground everywhere. I take off the leaves, use them for my food, and then use the little stump and shove it in the ground, and it grows and turns into another little basil like this one here. You can basically propagate everything. So it's not only for black beans, it's for everything. But this right here started my tomato growing. This right here started the whole garden this year, this season. I had one tomato in the refrigerator that was going bad, and I crushed it up and just threw it into this pot to just let it turn into compost. Well, needless to say, all of a sudden it started growing little tomatoes. The seeds started sprouting. So slowly but surely, I would take them out and put them into smaller pots and nurse them. And we'll be coming to one of those. But it happened in 3 different sections. But as I continue down the row, I'll explain how that all worked. But again, you could see I got companion planting. I have marigolds here. I'm waiting to bloom to draw in bees and insects to pollinate the tomatoes, because as you can see, there's no flowers or anything going on with this particular tomato plant, even though he's my first. He's been struggling, but he has produced a good crop, so I can't complain. And again, I have companion planting down there with basil. Down here, I'm nursing dragon fruits. Again, that's one where you can just cut it, shove it in the ground, and let it grow. It's just that easy. Tomato plant next to this tomato plant. Keep in mind, every single tomato that I have that we're about to watch came from the exact same tomato. One tomato produced everything that you're about to see. One tomato. I'm just amazed by it. So this was tomato number 1. There's tomato number 2, and so on and so forth as we go. I'm not going to continue counting, but these are those tomatoes that are, when you buy them in the store, they're called tomatoes on the vine. Right here, I have a really good specimen that the way that you would see it in the store. I don't see how well you could see that, but you see how they are like in clusters. I have the sun beaming in my eyes, so I can't see exactly what I'm filming. So I'm kind of like filming in the blind, but actually right here, here's a great example of a pod, just like when you buy it in the store when the vine is still on it. That's what this is. This is tomatoes on the vine. It's just amazing. Here's another excellent specimen. They're all together, 6 of them in a nice little group, all growing at the same rate as they're supposed to. So these tomatoes are doing great, but they all came from this pot. The tomato was crushed, put into this pot, and grew. I took them out little by little, planted them, and they all grew. So like I'm going to repeat that. Every tomato that I'm going to show you in this video came from one tomato that was going bad in my refrigerator. I've taken a lot of tomatoes off already. I have so many tomatoes inside my refrigerator. I have tomatoes literally coming out my ears. I've got tomatoes all over the place. It's insane. It's great. And my wife and my mother-in-law, they make a wonderful tomato sauce, and with it being coming from homemade from the garden, and the fresh basil that's growing all around, you want to talk about some good sauce. I don't know. If you eat their food, you got to be careful when you eat it, because if you spill some of that food on your forehead, your tongue's gonna slap you silly trying to get it. It's that good. But as you can see, the tomatoes are doing all good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was the first run. Every day I come out and I check the tomatoes. I inspect them for bugs. I look for poop, caterpillars. But once a week, I spray neem oil on all my vegetables except for my blueberry plant, because I'm eating directly off of the blueberry plant. I walk by, pick a blueberry, and eat it. So that's the only plant that I don't do anything to. But I use neem oil. It's all natural, and it's a great product, and it prevents bugs from coming. And so far this year, I have not had aphids, I have not had caterpillars, I have not had hornworms, I have not had any form of insect in my squash. I have not had the powdery mildew, because it's also, the neem oil also acts as a fungicide. So it's a wonderful product. You put it on once a week. It has to be once a week. It's not an as-need basis, it's a once a week basis. You put the neem oil on, and it does not kill the insect, but what it does is it makes the leaves that the insect eat toxic to the insect. Therefore, it just prevents it before it becomes a problem. In the past, my grapes would just get decimated with aphids, and by the time I found them, it was too late. The damage was done. The vine was destroyed. This year, religiously, once a week, every Sunday, in the evening, I do it at nighttime, because you have to let it sit for 24 hours, and I don't want the sun to bake it. It's very hot down here in Central Florida. I put the neem oil on, and I have no bug problems. But I'm not killing bugs. It's just these invasive insects and funguses are being stopped in their tracks before they can become a nuisance problem. It doesn't harm bees. Doesn't harm the butterflies, because they're going for the flowers, taking the pollen. But I do have a major problem with pollinators around. There's not very many insects around. The bug man that kills the mosquito drives around, sprays the poison to kill the mosquitoes, but in the process, this guy's also killing everything else that crawls around that's necessary. And so I have to self-pollinate myself. Tomatoes are very easy to self-pollinate. You just simply give the bush a little shake, and that moves the pollen around inside of the flower there, and that'll turn into a tomato. So these guys are easy to self-pollinate. You just basically just give the plant a little shake gently, and just so that it kind of stirs up the pollen. I've seen some people use electric toothbrushes. They'll go through and put an electric toothbrush and let it vibrate the plant. But you know, I do that every day. I come out and I inspect the plants for bugs. I give them a little shake for pollinating. Here I have peppers, also grown from the grocery store. The seeds that are inside your peppers, let them dry and plant them in some dirt, and you can get peppers. I'm not sure exactly what kind of peppers these are. I know that they are for sure bell peppers, but what I do not know is, are they green? Are they orange? Are they yellow? Are they red? I do not know that. I'll have to wait and find out. With my peppers, somehow a sweet potato plant got in there, and I don't know how it got there, but it is. But I'll be snipping this piece off here and propagating that into water, which I'll show you in a few moments how I do that. Again, you never have to buy sweet potatoes again. That's another thing. Now, as I continue down, this is my next run of tomatoes. The tomatoes that came off of the original kind of grew out of the dirt in different phases, so I addressed them on an as-need basis. I ran out of pots and began creating a spot in the dirt to plant them. But here's one I got flowers on, and again, give them a little tap, a little shake there gently, just to kind of get that pollen stirred up. Again, the sun is in my eyes, so I don't know how well the quality is. I also inspect for what they call suckers, which is this little thing growing here in between. I got flowers that are developing right here, and then I got this sucker which takes the energy from the section of the plant that's going to be producing flowers and producing fruits. So what you want to do is break those little suckers off and throw them away if you see that occurring. If you're not sure, when in doubt, leave it alone, because suckers can also produce tomatoes. They can grow up and they can produce tomatoes as well. Here I have sunflower. In between each one of the hibiscus plants that we have here, I put a sunflower. Now, the sunflowers were bought from the store, the seeds, and out of the whole pack of seeds, only 5 of the seeds actually sprouted. So I got a pack of mostly dud seeds. But what's going to happen is these guys are going to flower. They're going to make seeds, and I will never buy another pack of sunflower seeds again. To plant, I won't have to do that. I'll store my own seeds and plant them again next year, and you know, I'll have them year after year. I'm going to be self-reliant. I won't need Home Depot to buy plants or seeds anymore. And I'm also working on a project of finalizing creating my own fertilizer. So once I get that down, I will fill everybody in on that. But I want to create my own fertilizer as well. I intend on using fish. I'd like to use fish. So I'm going to create a fish fertilizer. It's supposed to be one of the better ones. They sell it in the store. But if I can go to the beach and throw my cast net and catch a bunch of mullet or whatever, I can make my own fish fertilizer. And, you know, I don't have to worry about buying chemicals at Home Depot in order to feed my plants. And at that point, I will be 100% completely natural. There will be 0 chemicals, human-made chemicals in my garden. It will be completely natural by then. Here's a couple more of my tomatoes from the second run that sprouted from the one tomato in my fridge that went bad. And you can see they're looking good. Planted these guys, I'd say maybe about a month and a half ago. Just giving them a little shake and get that pollen moving around in there. And because, we need tomatoes. Now I have a nice interesting area here. These are more of the second run of the tomatoes, more of them, and these guys actually have tomatoes growing on them already. They got a tomato right there, growing already right here. So that's just I saw that the other. Here's another one. I saw that the other day, and I was just ecstatic. And here down here at the end, I got some tomatoes growing right there too. So, and again, this all came from one tomato in my refrigerator that was going bad. Recently, I had to cut back my basil plants because they were growing all over the place. So again, I told you I like doing companion planting. So right here, right here is a basil that I've put in the ground, and I give it a little tug gently, and it's already taken root. So this guy's going to be just fine. He looks kind of pitiful right now, but he's going to do fine. Right here next to it, I'm doing an experiment, which is a marigold. My marigolds are getting kind of long and leggy, so I cut off a chunk of it and shoved it in the ground, and it feels like it's trying to take root. It looks pitiful right now, but I'm thinking that you may actually be able to propagate marigolds. I've never done it before. I've never seen it on YouTube, but doesn't mean that it can't happen. And right next to it, I have the very last of the tomatoes that came from the original tomato. That little guy right there. Once he doubles his size, he'll get a cage, and he'll go in the ground here with the rest of them, and he'll give us a bunch of tomatoes. But this guy here is the last of them. So, in total, from one tomato, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 6, 15 tomato plants, each of which are producing oodles and oodles of tomatoes, just unbelievable amounts of tomatoes. I can't even count. There's so many of them, honestly. So, from one tomato. So you don't have to buy seeds anymore. Anything that you buy at the grocery store, if it has a seed, and even if it doesn't have a seed, like a piece of lettuce, the same thing. But lettuce for cooler weather. I cannot do lettuce in Central Florida. It's too hot. I would love to be able to, but I can't because of the heat. But lettuce, things like that, it can also be propagated. You take it, stick it in some water, let it develop some roots, put it in dirt, and then you got your own lettuce growing. But again, like I say, I got all of those are from one tomato. I will never, ever, ever, ever again have to buy a tomato seed. These guys will take care of me and my family for the rest of our lives. Now, in regards to black beans, I have my black beans planted here, and these guys are looking pitiful. I also had them companion planting in pots up there, so I'm about to harvest these guys. They're looking kind of rough. I don't know if it's because of the heat. I'm really not sure, but they have produced quite amount of beans. You can see there's lots of beans on the plant. So just waiting for them to dry so that I can harvest them. But in the future, I don't think I'm going to plant in this area because of the way that the black bean looks that's in the back of my property. I think the black bean does not mind the heat of Central Florida, but I think it doesn't really like the sun. So I have planted a row against that wooden fence back there behind the little palm tree and the chair that's there. So back against that fence a few days ago, I planted a whole bunch of black beans. So I'm expecting and I am hoping that within the next maybe month or two, you're not going to see that fence. That fence, I'm hoping, is going to be covered with black beans, which if that happens, I'm just going to be just thrilled. I'll be ecstatic at it. I also propagated back in that area a bunch of basil plants because honestly I just didn't have anywhere else to put them. I'm starting to run out of place. I got so much basil, it's ridiculous. I have unbelievable amounts of basil, but I love basil, so I can't get enough of it. So as we continue through the tour of the garden, right here is a sweet potato that sprouted, and I just took the sweet potato and let it sit in water. It developed some roots, and then eventually it made that little plant right there. And here again I have a fresh cutting of a basil plant that looks pretty pitiful right now, but let me tell you, in a month that thing is going to be insane. It's going to be just basil leaves everywhere. But I got a sweet potato growing in here. Along this fence line, again, I got sweet potatoes that are propagated. I take a clipping from a sweet potato and then put it in water, and it develops roots, and then once it gets roots, I just put it in the ground, and then it's just going to grow and just make a whole bunch of sweet potatoes all along this road right here, all the way down. Now here I tried to propagate grapes on this little strip right here, and again they look pitiful right now, but I give it a little tug, and it's tight, so it's telling me that under the ground there's roots. So I'm gonna leave it alone, just kind of watch and just see what happens. But everywhere you see like one of these little green tags and a stick is where I have a piece that's been propagated, where I just took a clipping and shoved it in the ground. And yeah, I'm hoping to get some more grape plants out of the deal, and I'll keep you guys posted on that as well, if this ends up proving to be successful. The grape plant that I'll be showing you later on in this video is just out of control and has so many grapes on it, it's insane. I can't remember the name of the species of grapes off the top of my head right now, but I have it tagged, so when we get to it, we'll talk about it then. So as we continue through here, we got pineapples. So the tops of your pineapples, don't throw them away. Pull the top off, cut off the bottom leaves, and put it in water. You leave it in water for a little while, and then it's going to develop roots. Then once it develops roots, you stick it into some dirt and a pot, and off you grow. You got pineapples. These guys gave us pineapples last year that were just absolutely fantastic. They were so much better than the grocery store bought pineapples. They were so sweet. And as a matter of fact, everything that we eat from our garden tastes 1,000 times better than what you buy at the store, because of the chemicals and the stuff that they put on it, processing, the waxes. It's just ridiculous. So grow your own food. It's all natural, safer, and as far as flavor goes, tastes fantastic. Here I got sweet potatoes that I propagated. Here's my black bean plant along with the dragon fruit. The dragon fruit is the yellow pitaya, Ecuador pitaya, and it has a delicious fruit. I've actually got it to flower 3 times. It produced fruit the first time, but the other 2 times the fruit died, and that was due to lack of pollination. I wasn't able to get out at nighttime because it's a night bloomer, and I wasn't able to get out at night in order to do a pollination on it, and I lost the fruit 2 times. But I was really sick during that time. I was really sick, and that didn't get done. But I'm hoping that maybe this year it'll flower again, and maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get something. Now herbs are the same thing. Herbs are going to grow you seeds. This right here is a cilantro plant, and it's already starting to flower up top here, which is going to make seeds. And I'm going to take those seeds and I'm going to grow more cilantro. Parsley, on the other hand, I don't know if parsley makes seeds. I have not seen parsley make seeds, but if it does, you can bet your butt that I'm going to go ahead and take them seeds and I'm going to grow my own parsley. But until then, unfortunately, I'm stuck with having to buy parsley seeds and grow them on my own, or buy the plant at Home Depot or Lowe's or somewheres. Now, as I had mentioned, this back row of this fence, back here, this whole row, I intend to be black beans. From that little wooden stick down there, all the way down to where I'm standing at, to be all black beans. And then in between, I have basils that I propagated because, like I mentioned earlier, I just don't have anywhere to put them. I'm starting to run out of places to put this stuff. The sweet potatoes, as I had mentioned, are propagating back here in the shade. And as you can see in the jar, you can see the roots. So later on today, I'm going to take these guys and I'm going to dig a hole over there with the other sweet potatoes on that little row that I showed you earlier, and I'm going to plant these sweet potatoes, and then I'm going to replace them with some clippings. So like maybe this piece that's growing a little long, I'll give them a little nip and throw them in that jar of water there, and I'll have myself another sweet potato plant. So I just keep getting sweet potato plants, let them root, and then let them grow. And wait a minute, I just now discovered something I didn't notice a moment ago. I don't know if you guys can see this, but here my cilantro has made flowers. Which is beautiful. So that means it's going to make a seed, and I'm going to have more cilantro seeds. So this pitiful, empty-looking pot is going to fill up with more cilantro, thanks to this guy right there. And I am not going to ever grow cilantro or buy cilantro at the store again. I will grow it on my own. That's the beauty of gardening, and not to mention the fact that it's just therapeutic. It's mentally relaxing. Coming out, doing it, inspecting it, taking care of it. It's a love, it's a passion, and I definitely love this garden. I definitely love gardening. And I love God for allowing my life to continue when I should not be here right now. I was supposed to have passed away about 17 months ago, 15 to 17 months ago, according to what the doctor said, because of my brain tumor. But here I am, many months later, happier than I've ever been, and I give God all the glory. He extended my days and given me this wonderful garden here to grow my own food and to share my knowledge with you. I couldn't ask for a greater blessing. I needed to sit down for a moment, so that's why I'm just kind of sitting here. But now, I had my wife bought zucchini seeds. We never had success with zucchini, and again, it was due to pollination issues. But now that I've got the pollination issue figured out and how to better care for squash type plants or watermelons, cantaloupes, squash, butternut squash, all of those things are all in the same family. The reproduction method is basically the exact same, just a different species type of plant, but in order to get it to produce fruit, the process is the same. And I have now been given the gift of knowledge of how to be able to grow fruit, that type of fruit, which I love so very much. But my wife gave me some zucchini seeds, a pack that she had bought from Home Depot or Lowe's or somewheres. And I planted the seeds, and within just a couple of days, they popped up. So, I mean, this just happened like, I don't even think this is a week old. I planted 2 of them just in case one didn't come up. And over here by this stick, I also planted 2, but on this one, nothing came up for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if those seeds are just slow growers or if they were just dead seeds, which is a very good possibility. But I'm happy that I have 2, because out of 2, I know that I'm going to get many, and I know that at that point, I'm never going to have to buy zucchini squash seeds again. I'll be able to be self-sufficient on zucchini squash seeds. As we continue down the way, I have a video that I posted earlier, a few weeks ago, in regards to cantaloupe seeds that had opened and began to take root while still inside the melon itself. And these are a couple of those that are growing right there. So if this is a success, if I can get these guys to grow, if they can make it through this heat here in Central Florida, I won't have to buy cantaloupe. I'll get the seeds out of the cantaloupe and grow them myself. But the problem is where these are, where that stick is, in this area that I'm panning down to that point right there. I had 2 other plants, and they popped up immediately, but the sun killed them the same day. It was so hot, the sun just cooked them and they died. And then that was that. This guy here is going through the same thing. He's trying. His companion plant right here next to him is, dying. It seems as though the heat's gonna win the battle on this one. I hope not, but I guess we'll have to just wait and see how that all plays out. And now my baby, as I continue down the way, the butternut squash. This butternut squash is doing great. All where these little white plates are mark where I have a fruit. Yeah, you can see there's a butternut squash growing there. There's one growing there. I am doing really well with the butternut squash. But what I have to do is I have to manually pollinate, because we don't have bees or anything that's pollinating these. So I learned how to self-pollinate these, the difference between the male and the females. The flower you see over there right now, I'll use this flower here as an example. But as you can see, it's just a little stick, and there's the flower. Now, to tell the difference between the male and the female, what happens is the female, as you can see on this little guy here, right there, has a flower, and it has a squash. So it'll have a squash attached to a flower. And then what you have to do is take the male flower this little part here and put it inside of the female flower and just kind of move the pollen around. You can do it that way, or you can use a Q-tip, whichever you prefer. I actually cut those off and I store them in the refrigerator. I actually collect pollen from squash because of the lack of bees. So I'm a pollen collector for that reason. Here's another really good one. I mean, these things are just growing like crazy, but I got one right here, a female, but you could see it's kind of turning yellowish. It's not dark green like this one right here. Where my finger is, that one's a dark green. Whereas this one here is beginning to get kind of yellowish. So I'm kind of concerned I'll probably lose this one, but that happens. That's part of the process. It's no big concern. You will have some that'll turn yellow and drop off, but then you will have others that will not turn yellow and drop off, and they will begin to look like that, which is wonderful. Let's move the plate up a little bit. You don't want these things touching the ground because it'll pick up fungus and bacteria and damage the plant. And then my personal baby, the very first one that fruited, is this guy here. Look at that. That is just a beautiful specimen of a butternut squash. Although the other ones are big and long and stuff, this chubby little guy, he's a cutie. I love him. I love the plants. And you have to love the plants, and you have to pray for your plants. I say that all the time. Pray for your plants. They're no different than people. They need prayer. They need protection. They need God's help from everything that's trying to kill them. That's what happens in this world. Everything's trying to kill something. And there are things that want to destroy your plants. And so pray for your plants. Pray for protection. There's another beautiful bell-shaped butternut squash. Pray for your plants. It works. Prayer works. Without praying for your plants, there's no hope. Look at that one. That is just a gift from God. That is why we say grace at dinner time. Thank God for the food that you provide for us, because that's what He does. Look at all those tomatoes. There's a gift from God. Here's one of those yellow ones I was telling you about. So I'm going to go ahead and just zap him off. I don't want it to suck the energy. There's no sense in something that's dying be on there and affect the plant and maybe somehow harm the plant. So if you see them yellowing like that, pluck them off and chuck them off to the side. So I'm going to hit pause and run over to the grape section. So give me just one quick moment and I'll be right back. So now I'm at my grapes, and that I intend on trying to propagate, but you can see plenty of grapes all over the place. Now these are small grapes. They're meant to be small. They're not supposed to be big. So I don't have I thought it was a defective plant until I did some research, and it turns out that this is not a defective plant. The grapes that this particular grapevine produces are little teeny grapes like these, and they are just all over the place. This, I have never in all my years had so many grapes. It's unbelievable the amount of grapes that are growing on this. But here is the name of the grape, is Bacon Noir, and it propagates. Here I have one that I'm propagating. I just take a little snipping and shove it in dirt and just wait for it to do its thing. Again, As you can see, I've got my companion planting with basil. Basil, another reason why I like to do companion planting with the basil is because basil also acts as a bug deterrent. Bugs don't like the way it smells, so it helps keep bugs away from your plants. It helps. It's not 100%, but it helps. Down here, from seeds, is a rosemary plant. I planted a whole pack of seeds, and of that whole pack of seeds, this is the only one that grew. So I am just kind of guarding and watching over this thing with all of my effort, and it's doing good. For a while it was very stagnant and just not really doing much of anything, but I moved it to this location, and ever since I've moved it to this location, it's done very well. It's actually, believe it or not, tripled in size. And here's your regular sized ink pen to give you an idea as to how big this plant is. It's not very big, but he tripled his size, and he's growing, and he looks healthy. So I'm happy and excited, and I'm hoping that he'll turn into a great big bush that we'll be able to keep for 10 or 15 years, because they can live for 10 to 15 years. Marigolds. I plant marigolds all over the place in an effort to bring pollinators around, but again, no bees. But I'll never have to buy marigold seeds again, because once the flower dies, you get the seeds, and then that's it. So again, I am self-sufficient. I won't have to buy seeds. Again, here's a basil propagation. I had to cut these back. They were getting so big and bushy. I had to cut them all back and put them in my fridge so that I can eat them. I have another grape plant here. This grape plant is this right here, but it doesn't really do so well. It's not doing good. It never has. So I'm really not sure what to do about it. It's never given us anything. But this year, as far as foliage is concerned, it's never looked better. But it still hasn't produced any fruit. So I don't know. I don't want to give up on it. And the reason I don't want to give up on it is because of this. This is our blueberry bush. And we've had this blueberry bush for about 5 years. And for about the first 3 years, it didn't do anything at all. And we were considering throwing it away, my wife and I. But then I said, let's just try one more thing. And whatever it was that I tried, it didn't work. And then the following year, I said, let me try this. I researched and found that blueberry like acidic soil. So I started taking all of my lemon peels and putting them into the dirt. The following year, I got a small blueberry crop. I continue to keep lemon peels in the dirt there to keep the soil acidic. And this year, the crop has been nonstop. It's been unbelievable. I mean, this one bush has produced so many blueberries. It's unbelievable. These are small because it's at the end of the season, and we've already picked most of them off. But let me tell you, that was a good blueberry. I wish you were here that I could give it to you to share it. I hate eating in front of people without sharing, but these things are good. And like I say, I don't treat it with anything. I put no pesticides. So I can just walk right up to it. I can pull it off. And down she goes. Now these plants, flowering, these plants were purchased. I learned a very valuable lesson. When you store your plant seeds, store them in your house, store them in a cool area. I made a mistake of storing my seeds in my work box that's outside, and the heat cooked all my seeds and killed them. I had a magnificent black cherry tomato plant, and I had staved the seeds from it, and because I left it outside and not stored properly, the sun killed the seeds. And not only did it kill those seeds, it killed every single seed that I owned, so I had to start all over again. But I learned a very valuable lesson. You store your seeds like somewheres in your house. Pick a cabinet or something, and organize your seeds somewheres. Keep them inside. Do not leave them outside. They'll cook. So make sure you store your seeds properly, because otherwise the following year you're not going to get anything. I mentioned earlier a sucker. Here's a really good, I cannot see, the sun is like just destroying my eyes over here, but right here is, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm hoping that you can. Right there is a sucker. If you see that on your tomato plants, just take it off. Take it off with your fingers, or take a small pair of scissors and just get rid of it, because all it does is suck the energy. The plant's gonna start focusing its energy on growing that branch instead of growing your fruit. And you want it to grow your fruit. And again, you want to go through, when you see flowers, gently tap your plants, your tomatoes, so that they can self-pollinate. But these 3 pots here are all black cherry, and again, companion planting with my basils all over the place, also as an effort to help deter insects, unwanted insects, to come around. And last but not least, we got the red cherry tomato. Right there, again, had to be bought. We weren't able to, we could have probably bought one from the store, but when we ordered the black cherry tomatoes, because we couldn't find them in the store or anything, we just went ahead and ordered red cherry too. So we're self-sufficient. The cactus, the same thing. This plant is edible. These little leaves, you grill them, and it has no thorns. See, this thing has no thorns on it whatsoever. And you grill it. There's recipes online that tell you how to do it. It's easy, tastes good. Some people say it tastes like green beans. Some people say it tastes like asparagus. I say it tastes like asparagus. And it's easy to make, and there's plenty of recipes online to research. But again, when it comes to fruits and vegetables and things, we're completely self-sufficient at this point. We don't need much in regards to vegetables at the grocery store. The Lord's blessed us, and we have our fill of herbs and different fruits, and we even have a peach tree in the back. And but unfortunately, it got leaf spot and killed all the fruit, so I didn't catch it in time. And again, use neem oil on it. That way, it doesn't bother the fruit or anything. But again, it's one of those things that if you don't catch it immediately, if you don't deal with it on a regular basis, it's too late. The damage is already done. So it's basically a practice that when you're growing your stuff, to just make it a habit once a week, hit your plants with a little bit of neem oil, and you won't run into any problems. And when you do it, make sure it's not going to rain, because it's got to sit for 24 hours, and make sure you do it in the evening time, so it has time to absorb into the leaves without any issues from the sun burning it or anything like that. So I recommend like maybe a couple of hours before sunset, depending on where the sun is positioned against your garden. Just make sure that the sun is not hitting any of your plants, and then go through and spray them down with neem oil. But To the viewer that was asking the information about the black beans and the propagating, know that you can do this with everything. There's nothing that you can't do on your own. We don't need the grocery stores, and there's going to come a time where we may not have access to grocery stores or food or whatever. So don't be scared. Be prepared. Grow your own food. Seriously, grow your own food. It's healthier. And if we run into times of trouble, you're not gonna starve. So, but anyway, I appreciate the question. I thank you for watching my video. I appreciate you leaving a comment on it. Share my channel with your friends and family and loved ones, and anybody watching. If y'all could hit the like button as well, and subscribe to the channel and pass the word along. Grow your own food. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of patience, a little bit of time, but most importantly, prayer. It's not going to work if you don't pray for your plants. You need God's help. Otherwise, it's not going to work. God makes things grow. You can plant all day long, but at the end of the day, God makes things grow. So that's all for now, guys. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be seeing you. Take care. Bye-bye now.